Hey people, it's Kelly of Print Pray Slay, and I am on day 3 of my scripture writing plan for January. Today's scripture is James 5:12. I'm going to flip through to James 5:12, but I tend to always go back to Exodus 20, which is where the Ten Commandments are. And as I look for James 20, because my Bible is chronological, you'll see that like it's really weird, especially when you get into the New Testament and how like the Gospels are kind of all pushed together and all the accounts are like this happened and this happened, but all of the same things happened in like multiple books. It's a thing. So you're gonna see me flipping through. This Bible is really hard to try to like maneuver and understand where things are because it's not where it's supposed to be. Well, it's where it's supposed to be in chronological order. Let me say that because it's the chronological study Bible. So I'll get into James, and it says James 5:12 says, but most of all, my brothers and sisters, never take an oath by heaven or earth or anything else. Just simply say yes or no, so that you will not sin and be condemned. All right. So it's a very simple stated verse. Simply put, don't make any false oaths or vows. And the other side of that you don't get from this particular scripture, but is a part of what relates to the scripture in the Ten Commandments, is Exodus 27. And it's about not misusing God's name. And the reason why James 5:12 relates is because it's about not taking an oath by heaven or earth or anything else. Like heaven is God's throne. So let me read Exodus 20, let's see, verse 7. You must not misuse the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not let you go unpunished if you misuse his name. All right. So I've always taken that to mean one specific thing, but I did want to, and I think a lot of other people have done the same thing. So I really wanted to share this commandment in a different light. In a light in which it's vows. So vows are supposed to be sacred. Like you should not take them unless you're being serious. And it's not the same thing as like telling a lie. This is like a sacred promise. It's like vows are what people had with God. Right? So to avoid any issue, Jesus emphasizes just telling the truth and keeping vows, because you can make a vow with another person as well. But if you're making like this promise to God, like people have done that before, I promise if you get me out of this situation, then this, Lord. Or people have taken his name in vain, which is like cussing or swearing on his name. The kids nowadays say on God when they speak of something, which is not a cuss word, but they usually use it in a weird way. Like I heard them say that, and it's kind of like I promise to God. But they know they lying when they say it. Like most of the kids, when they say on God, they not telling the truth, to be honest, as far as like the teenagers and stuff. And that is a part of taking God's name and misusing it. So as it relates to, as Exodus 27 relates to 5:12, James is talking about taking an oath by heaven or earth. And again, I was trying to explain to you that heaven is God's domain. So saying I swear by heaven or I promise on earth or anything relating to God is very wrong, and he's saying that he's not going to let it go unpunished if you misuse his name. So I wanted to bring in that aspect along with what I believe a lot of people know, which is to not use God's name in vain, period. I also would dare to say that when we, I guess I did touch on this already when I say, God, get me out of this situation, and I promise I'll never smoke again, or I promise that I'm going to pay my taxes on time, or whatever you think you're going to promise, knowing good and well, either you have the heart to want to do it but not the will, or you really have no intentions of doing it anyway. You just want God to help you out of the jam that you so put yourself in. And that goes, like I said, with Matthew. I don't know if I said Matthew 5:34. So we got James 5:12, Exodus 27, and then we have Matthew 3 and 4, which Matthew 5:34 just says, "Do not make any vows." Don't swear by heaven, don't swear by earth, don't swear by nobody. Don't do nothing. Just simply just say yes or no. Let me see, is there anything else? Some people, like my study Bible has also expanded on this into not lying, but that is one of the other commandments. You must not testify falsely against your neighbor, like not lying, having like false account, false judgment, speaking idly. We will get into that one. But I did want to make note of that as well, that sometimes in the middle of the whole vow and not using God's name in vain, there is a lie in there. Either a lie to yourself, like I believe I will do this, but you lying to you. You know good and well that you're not going to do it. You can't do it. You have no intentions on doing it, but it sounds good. I think this is important for various reasons. Like sometimes I like try to find the why or the purpose inside of the scripture. I think when we do that, we make it we put it more on our heart. Like we understand it more. If you understand it more, then you can implement it more. It's not just simply, I'm not going to say God's name when I cuss. It's like you hold his name and him in high regard, like a reverence for God. Just like, well, I was about to say just like you do for your mom, but I definitely heard, I swear on my mama. I swear on my mama's grave. Like, don't do none of that, okay? Like, none of that is good. But specifically when you're talking about God, if you just think about him being the creator of all, beyond you, like you talking about the universe, you talking about everything you can see, touch, smell, hear, and just think of, he's the creator of, and you sit there and, well, let's not say you, okay? I'm not trying to beat you into the ground. We people, let's say people, and people sit there and disrespect his name. It should almost sound like how when you are really trying to be on a straight and narrow and upright in your walk, and you hear somebody cuss and it like cringe. It should make you cringe when you hear, or if you happen to say anything like that uses God's name in an improper tone and way. Don't put that on him. All right. Just simply say, yes, I'm going to do it, or yes, I believe I can, to get past the whole being disrespectful, to be honest, being disrespectful to God. So I hope you got something new out of this particular scripture, this particular scripture writing. I did use my tip-in, like I said I would do in the last video, where I was going back and forth, but I decided to use it. You see the little 3 on there. I think it turned out neat, but let me know your thoughts, please. All right, bye.